Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. It seems like the people of Maui are still desperate and in need of a lot of help. And the Biden administration and the powers that be don't want to help, at least in my opinion. Because if they truly did, they'd be doing a hell of a lot more than what they're doing now. But this is an article. Well, I shouldn't say article. This is some news from The Hill that came out yesterday, and I'm surprised a lot more networks are not, pushing back, or at least trying to follow up on this, to make sure that Biden does the right thing. But obviously, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, I've been saying it for so long now that the people of Maui need so much help. They need all the exposure that they can get. They're still technically in a sort of a media blackout. They're under that new emergency proclamation. In my opinion, I think it's just a land grab that's going on, and that's why the White House and a lot of politicians are not really putting a lot of emphasis on what's going on in Maui. But before I play this, I just want to thank all the subscribers, everybody watching my videos. All my content. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'm trying to get my subscribers up. I don't have many. I'm up to 48, but that's fine. It's only been a little over a month that I've been on. I think that's pretty good for my taste. I mean, for now. But it'd be nice if I could get some more subscribers. Trying to get up to 100. See what happens. Just started in September, and my birthday's coming up soon, so who knows? Maybe I'll get I got 48 subscribers now. Maybe I'll get 52 before my birthday on the 15th. Give me 100 subscribers. That'd be my birthday presents. But without holding back anymore, let's see what's going on. And just hope that Maui, the people of Maui, all the victims, get what they need. But here we go.
During a press briefing about the Maui wildfires recovery effort, President Biden once again recounted a story about his 2004 house fire.
I didn't do anything like that, but lightning struck my house. We had to be out of that house for about 7 months. I was repaired because so much damage was done to the house, and half the house almost collapsed.
While visiting the FEMA headquarters yesterday to thank emergency personnel who helped in the response to the Maui wildfires and Florida, Biden announced he will travel to Florida tomorrow morning, days after Hurricane Idalia hit western Florida. However, the visit may do little to take attention away from the federal government's Maui response. Here's a scene from the White House press briefing room earlier this week.
Given the cost of living in Hawaii, specifically in the Lahaina community, is anything being done right now? Are there considerations or efforts being made to try to raise that cap, that $700 figure for those who are there?
Yeah, the $700 figure of critical needs assistance is really just that amount of funding for some of the very immediate needs that individuals have. Every year, the main part of our assistance, which is our individual and household program, adjusts annually based on inflation. This year it's $41,000 of a cap that individuals can get. That will get raised after the fiscal year. I don't know what that number is yet, but we do adjust that main portion of the funding that goes to individuals annually based on inflation.
Later, Press Secretary
Okay, you know what? I mean, I'll never understand what's going on with all, when they come out to helping Americans. For Biden to keep repeating that he had a fire in his house, listen, nobody likes it. I've been in a couple of fires in my life, and trust me, it's nothing pretty. But for him to be so brain dead and keep bringing that up, saying, oh, we couldn't live in our house for 7 months. Yeah, but you know what? You have millions of dollars put away in the bank, and you had a lot of political connections. So I highly doubt that you guys, skipped the beat. You know what I mean? And the people in Maui and Lahaina, that are suffering, they have nowhere to go. They've lost all their possessions. They got no money coming in. They're still trying to find out where the missing children are. Nobody, is giving them any answers. They're being held away from their own property forcefully. Okay, you got a rogue police force that is like pushing back on the people when they want questions. You know, I mean, so many different things against them, and yet, Biden makes it seem as if he knows exactly what it is. I mean, it would have been better off if he just didn't even mention about the fire that he went through, because what was lost? A couple of material things, and a Corvette, I believe, was something. Who cares? If nobody passed away from these fires in Maui, I really don't think the natives will really care. But you're looking at, I mean, not that they wouldn't care. I mean, they would, at least they knew that nobody passed. If they knew that nobody passed away from this horrific fire, they'd be a little more upbeat and say, okay, you know what, we can rebuild. But to add insult to injury, so many things are being pushed against them, and Biden is not helping. This administration is not helping. The politicians and powers that be are not helping. So I think that it's about time that people start pushing back just a little harder and keep that pressure on. But let's continue.
Rin Jean-Pierre again faced another grilling by Ducey.
Okay, and it seems like the hurricane response so far is robust. Did you guys realize that the initial Hawaii wildfire response was not that good? Or is it just easier for people to get help from the White House when the president is not on vacation?
So the premise of your question and the way you pose your question, I disagree, just for the record. So if you were to do your reporting and speak to...
I got to jump in this real quick. This woman, I mean, she is, wow. I mean, there's so many words we can describe a lot of people in this administration, but I mean, I could come up with 1,000 words. The word that I could think of this woman right now is just diabolical. I mean, every time Ducey comes out, and he always comes out with a doozy, so I got to make a joke like that. But I mean, you can tell that she gets so frustrated because she knows she's getting caught out there, and she just tries to spin it around, but she has to also come out condescending, and it's a real disservice to the American people, and not only the American people. What's really disheartening, and like I said, I don't care when it comes to tragedy. I really don't care where you stand politically, religiously, whatever. I mean, a tragedy is a tragedy. Okay, I always say that all life is precious. But to think that Biden and his administration, they won Hawaii hands down. I mean, whatever the number ones, I mean, they just won it hands down. And it's such a disservice that him and his administration could just turn the cheek on Hawaii and then get upset when they're questioned about it. It's just totally disgusting. But let's continue.
The governor of Hawaii, the senators of Hawaii, the folks on the ground, they would say that the president reacted in record time when it came to dealing with the wildfires, when it came to dealing and making sure that they got everything that they need on the federal level to deal with what was going on the ground. Let's not forget there were more than 600 federal employees on the ground already to assist with the wildfires in Maui. So your question is wrong, is flawed in many, many ways.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sorry, Karine, but here's the deal. Number one, why were there so many federal agents on the ground beforehand? Unless they knew that something was going to take place. That's number one. Number two, all those federal agents have cordoned off the area where they're not letting even the people that live there into the area to, find out what's going on with their property. Okay? Number three, Biden didn't show up till 2 weeks later because he was on vacation. When he was asked about it, he smiled, he smirked, and got into his vehicle and just drove away. Okay. Number four, let me see. You're talking about everybody on the ground. The police chief has lied. We've already, known that. The governor has been, anything but trustworthy. Okay. The mayor, you could barely get a word out of him when you ask about the children. Let me see. The guy that was in charge of the sirens quit the next day, okay, due to health reasons. The guy that was in charge of the water took it upon himself to choose water over human life, okay. Let me see what else. Oh yeah, the fire chief. Where has he been? Where was he coordinating all the fire departments? Where was the help from the military that could have came in, being that they're not that far from they're on the islands? So this whole thing that, that she's going to come out and say that Biden was on it, what exactly was he on? Okay, and this is the way I see it. Okay, this is why I keep saying that this was this was like an inside job, because we all know that Biden's on the take. I mean, it's been proven from Ukraine to China, Russia, well, you name it. I mean, the guy's getting money left and right. He doesn't care about selling out America. He didn't care when he was, down with Obama. Why would he care now? So this is the way I see it. Yeah, he can go down to Florida, after the hurricane, and rightly so. That's his job. But has anybody noticed that a lot of politicians, the administration, a lot of people on the ground are not really trying to help people in Maui? And there's only one reason for that. And that's because they know exactly what was supposed to take place and what's going to take place. That's basically what it is. If nobody can take all this information and all the information that they're getting online, not only by content creators, but by people that have been putting out videos on TikTok, people that are there, the natives that are there. If nobody could put all this together, you're just as complacent, okay, and or you just don't care. Plain and simple. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, none of this is right, because it was never right from the beginning. But let's continue.
Yeah, so Ducey always asks tough questions. I don't know that I necessarily disagree with him putting pressure on the White House for doing more for the folks in Maui. I will say I understand it's the governor's job to request the federal aid, and I think the governor did a really bad job in Hawaii in asking for the aid. Josh Green should have been a little bit more proactive. The folks responsible for sounding the alarm should have been more proactive. We know they stepped down. But I also think the Biden administration, it's a cop-out for them to say we've maxed out the amount of aid we can give with that $700. We know there are many sources for federal aid, especially in the case of emergencies. For example, you can get millions of dollars from HUD. In fact, it was just about 30% of the recovery funds and response funds for Sandy that came from FEMA. So it's just...
Yeah, I agree. I agree 1,000%. You know what? If they're gonna say, and I hope some content creators, would see my video and they would, band together and let their subscribers know, and everybody, start, speaking out. Petitions need to be made, and especially for anybody in the blue states that are very concerned about this whole situation. I think petitions need to be started now. Whereas, okay, all these mayors and governors in the blue states, what they need to do is, in my opinion, don't ask for another penny from the federal government for help with all the illegals that are coming in. That's number one. Number two, people need to start calling up their representatives and tell them that, when the next vote comes up, or actually right now, to, just flood the phone lines, okay? And tell their senators and, their congressmen that no, they don't want another penny going to Ukraine. Hit them over the head with those two things. Another thing, the same thing. Start petitions and tell them, we want the borders closed. We don't want no more money sent to anybody coming here illegally at the border, starting at the border. And all this has to go back to the fact that, if you can't help out the people in Maui, then we got no business helping out anybody else outside the United States. That's just plain and simple. Because I know that, a lot of people in the red states would more than happily do that. But now it's time for people in the blue states, for us to all band together and say, regardless of political party, regardless of, religious belief or whatever the case is. The people in Maui, all I've ever heard was always good things about people in Hawaii. I've had a lot of family and friends visit Hawaii, and they said, man, it's one of the most beautiful places and have some of the most beautiful people there. But what's happening right now in Hawaii, there is a major infiltration going on. I haven't titled any of my videos like I have my other videos with Chicago and New York and all that. When I say that Chicago has fallen, New York has fallen, I'm not going to do that with Maui. I'm not going to do that. Okay? Because it will be a disservice to everybody that's suffered and that is still suffering. And once again, I'm going to keep pushing it. Just like everybody else should keep pushing it. Where are the children? There should be investigation after investigation. This is not something that we need to let just pass on through. No, there is too much left unsaid and undone, unproven. Okay? The police chief needs to be in front of a judge. The governor, the mayor, the fire chief, everybody that day had the power to do a hell of a lot more should be in front of a judge. And since the military, like in one of my last videos, where the general major or major general, whatever, I needed to go and put his 2 cents in at the podium, I don't know how the military got involved in this, but you know what? If that's the case, then bring them up also. Because obviously, nothing right is being done, and there's been a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of silent voices out there. On the political level, a lot of silent voices. Well, let's continue.
Such a cop-out to say we've given the max we can give right now with that $700. They can call on Congress to authorize more aid to Hawaii. There's a lot of things they can do. And so while the question didn't take into consideration the whole picture, when you still take into consideration the whole picture, the Biden admin could be doing a lot more to help with the recovery and rebuilding of Hawaii.
I think it's a cop-out, too, to say, oh, well, go talk to the governor, go talk to the senators, who, again, were partially responsible for the horrible response to this. Of course, they're not going to turn around and criticize President Joe Biden, but there have been tons of reporters in Maui who are actually speaking to people on the ground, actual citizens there, and they're not happy with how the government has been treating them. And even just outside of the federal official response in terms of the emergency response, Joe Biden, when he was first asked about this wildfire, was vacationing on a beach in Rehoboth and said he gave a flippant no comment. Like, he didn't even care to offer sympathy to the people who had lost everything, including their lives. Then, on his way to Hawaii, he decided to make a stopover at a billionaire's house in Lake Tahoe, where the White House insists that he's paying market rent, which I'm sure nobody believes.
And that's just disgusting. That's what I'm saying. This has all the makings of an inside job. It's like they're pretending to care, but they're not really doing anything. And you know what? I'm beginning to believe what the natives have been saying for so long. That this has been a coordinated power grab. And that at some point it was going to, something was going to happen. And people need to really speak up. I'm just a content creator that just started. Okay? And I have, I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I have a 9-to-9 job or whatever the case is. And when I get home, I check out the news. I try to put content out and, do the best I can. But there's content and I'm not knocking any content creators. Not at all. Not at all. But they have a bigger platform. They have tens of thousands of subscribers. And the way I see it, one person tells another person, it goes on and on and on and on. And there has to be a lot more on the news. You have people, you look at a lot of news articles and people are complaining about, gay pride parades and all kinds of, nonsense. And we want this and wah, 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 wah. Listen, everybody put their ideologies down to the side for a second and realize that there is a major tragedy that has taken place. Bigger, if not as bigger, okay, as far as the death count, than 9/11. We've had Pearl Harbor when that happened on Hawaii. Okay? They got us into a major war. You know, we had the tragedy of 9/11. You know, we got this. I mean, there's been other tragedies in this country. And people have responded very quickly. Political officials, you know, civilians, I mean, people from around the world. Why, oh why, is Maui being treated any different? What makes them so much more special? And I use that word, that word and that term loosely, that they can't be helped the way everybody else is being helped. And it's true what this lady said. It's a damn cop-out. And Karine Jean-Pierre, I mean, you know what? I mean, like I said, I mean, she's just diabolical. But it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's like everybody in the Biden administration, they're just a bunch of freaking snakes, man. You know, and I'm also calling out Republican politicians too. Just because they didn't vote for you, okay, granted. But if you truly care, get out there. And I'm not saying use this as a PR stunt, no. But if you truly care, get out there. Donate a couple of dollars from your coffers. You know you can. It don't have to be much. You know? And I know that everybody works separately, independently. I get that. I totally understand that. But you know what? When there's a hurricane like in Florida or something big in Texas or Louisiana, people pull out from their coffers from all other states. I am not understanding why Maui, Hawaii, is not getting the same response. It's horrible. It truly is horrible. Well, let's continue.
It's the house of Democrat billionaire donor Tom Steyer, who previously ran for president. So he stops there at this huge mansion, then goes over to Maui, kind of bumbles around the island for a day, and then goes right back to his vacation. So it's not even just the amount of money that's given or the amount of aid, but even just the fact that he couldn't muster up a little more sympathy, a little bit more leadership in a time where the American people really needed it.
I would like to imagine that the Biden administration is in such dire straits that they needed to stop over at Tom Steyer's house for some messaging advice on how to handle the whole disaster that they're that.
You know, it is. It's like, you know, you knew where you was going. What's with all the stopovers? You know, how dare you go on vacation and then on your way, you know, on your way in to go to Hawaii, you got to stop over somebody else's house. You know, it's just so, I mean, and it's so in your face. You know, the condescending crassness is just so in your face. And it you know, it just truly breaks my heart that it's like you can't even look out for the people in your own crew, man. You know, had there been some political scandal, forget about it. They'd be all over it. You know, people have perished. Children are missing. And no answers are being given to the tough questions. It's not right. It's horrible. And the people in Maui need answers. They need help and they need answers. And they need it now. Not wait till the fiscal year like FEMA says. No, damn it. Dig deep in your freaking pockets, take a damn pay cut, and freaking do something about it. Not all of us little folk, you know, can give, you know, a big portion of our paycheck. It'd be nice if we could. We probably could give a hell of a lot more if Biden didn't steal the election and screw things up. And I know I'm going to piss people off with that, but honestly, I don't care. You know? But I mean, come on, man. This is just straight up wrong. And children are missing. Just on that alone, there should be a congressional hearing. Just on that alone, both sides of the aisle should be on Capitol Hill asking, where are the bus drivers? You know, the school bus drivers. Where are the teachers? Where's this? What's the roll call? I mean, just on that alone. I mean, this should be national news. All day in the United States. It's sad that they're talking about it talking about it more on news stations and outlets overseas, and they're talking about it here too, but they're not asking the hard questions. They're trying to avoid all those questions, and that right there makes it all suspect. And what Biden is doing, oh man, it's just beyond me. It's beyond words, but it's not surprising. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. If you guys want to check out the rest of this, you can go to the Hill and check out the whole news feed. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. Again, thank you for watching my content. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around. And as always, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.